All right. I hope you all can hear me. I think that you can certainly can hear me. Hey, my name is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Welcome to Clear Blue Channel. This is my podcast that's usually here every Thursday. I didn't make it last week, but I'm here this week. And we're usually on at 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'm here for Resident Essentials YouTube channel. So I have a very important topic I want to talk about today. But before I jump into that topic, I am Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I've been a spiritual counselor for at least 45 plus years, and I enjoy helping people such as yourself gain greater clarity in your life at this very moment. You don't have to wait 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line. It's about what we can do to help you have a greater awareness of who you are, to be able to tap in to who you are, to be able to see yourself on a higher level with yourself. I'm not talking about seeing yourself on a pedestal. I'm talking about embracing the real you, that part of you. And today we're going to talk about that part of you and why you need to embrace who you are. Now, also, it's about helping you discover your purpose in life. And our purpose changes as our levels of consciousness change. We're constantly going up and down, like on a roller coaster, like on a ladder. And we don't realize sometimes that we might veer off course. We might get away from our true higher potential instead of remaining on the path. Hey there, Jackie, how you doing today? So this is very, very important. And thank you, Jackie, for coming on and saying hello. In fact, I'll send you back a heart. And so, we want to be aware that we have this true potential that's embedded deep down inside of us. So, my topic that I chose today is when you seek to be someone other than yourself, then you choose to hide from your true potential. Now, that's very important, right? You're hiding. You choose to hide. You choose not to embrace who you could be now. Now, the reason why this came to me is because over the last 20 years or so, maybe longer, 30 years, I run across a lot of people in the spiritual metaphysical community. Hi there, Linda, my friend. Thank you for joining in today. A lot of people get away. A lot of people want to find out who they were in the past. And most of the time, people want to be someone important. Now, why is that? Because in their current status, they don't feel good about themselves. They're having a difficult time in their life. They're not able to see the true self. So we wear a mask. That's what happens. So we pick a mask that belongs to someone else that was real. And we want to wear that mask. And we want to wear everything about that mask, especially if that mask was popular. But the only thing about that is sometimes, and most of the times, you pick up some of the energetic lessons, the energetic difficulties that went with that person that you hope you were, and now you're going to try to relive it. And it's very difficult. I've learned the same thing by studying numerology for 40 plus years, almost 50 years. When fathers name their sons after them, and if dad is not living a good life or had a good life or had a lot of traumatic experiences, the father doesn't realize they pass that same energy, boom, on to the son. And the son might be striving to do well, but can't understand why they run into all these brick walls around them. Why they have all these negative people popping up in their life? Why are they struggling with addictions? Well, because they are carrying the father's name, first, middle, and last name, they became a junior. Or maybe the father is a junior, which would be the second, and they become the third. Well, what happens is that child, that soul, is carrying all those vibrations into this lifetime on top of themselves. And so that's why it's best sometimes not to name your child after you. Give them a completely different vibration if you can in letters. Sometimes in numerology, though, they can't escape certain numbers like fours and eights and sevens. Certain ones just can't be escaped because the vibration is there. And it means that maybe that string, that lineage has that to work out. Well, here's something else. Let me go back into this topic. So a person is saying, I remember being such and such and such and such. Well, what I've found over the past 30, 20 years, and especially these last 6 to 8 years, there's droves of people claiming to be this one person. So who's who? Especially if they all say, I remember being such and such and such and such. You don't know. It's difficult, right? How is it that 5, 10 people are the same person? They remember being that same being. Somebody can't be, not everybody can be the one. That's like somebody saying they remember being the Prophet Muhammad. They remember being Khalil Gibran. They remember being Dr. Martin Luther King. They remember being Malcolm X. What happens is they may have some of the attributes of those, but they can't be those. Why? Because if that person had hurdles, that person chasing them down, trying to assassinate them, you best recognize that them assassinators are around today. They just not in that mode. But some have fallen into that mode. Some have chosen to walk a path where that's all they do. They hunt, they're like a bounty hunter, a metaphysical, spiritual, occult bounty hunter. So they're running behind that same vibration. What? Trying to kill it off. But one of the reasons that one would want to be that being, want to wear that mask, it is the same if you use the major arcana cards, the first 7 major arcana cards of the tarot are the magician. Everybody wants to be a scientific master, a teacher, the high priestess. Everyone wants to have the mysteries and the secrets mastered. Everybody wants to be the empress. They want to be able to speak the language of the universe. Everybody wants to be the emperor. They want to rule over people. Everybody wants to be what? The Hierophant, the leader of some great school, like a chancellor, a principal, a president of a college or a university. Everybody wants to have a relationship. That's the twins. Everybody wants to have victory in their life. That's the chariot. And then the next batch are the tools. Everybody wants to show how strong they are, how courageous they are. That's the strength card. Everybody wants to be in the world like a harbinger. That's the hermit. And you see what I'm saying? So these are like prototypes. These are archetypes that everyone wants to be like. Everybody wants to have 4 aces. You playing a deck of cards, you playing poker, you playing whatever. You want to have some kings and queens in there. You want to have some aces in there. Why? Because you can trump the whole spread. But it doesn't work that way, because when you're reaching to be other things other than finding out who you are now, you wind up missing out on your true potential, your transcendent self, known as your higher self. Not all of us are engaged or connected to the higher self right away, but throughout life, we can become connected to the higher self. We actually can. We just have to fix ourselves. There's a lot of things happening inside ourselves all the time. There are a lot of difficulties that we are all experiencing all the time. Do you know that people are experiencing their past trauma, their pain? They have not yet conquered it. Do you realize that some people, let's say you grew up in a home where you had one or two parents was an alcoholic, and you may have had some brothers and sisters who were maybe falling into drugs, and you were the one that survived. You had enough inner strength, internal mental strength, to not be influenced by your parents who were addicted to alcohol or drugs or other family members. And then you decided, well, someone asked you while you were a child and you were going through all these experiences, when you grow up, what do you want to be? Well, I'm quite sure, even if you were connected to mom or dad or older sibling or aunt or uncle or grandparent, I'm quite sure if they were an addicted personality, even though you could see underneath a positive energy shining through, but it was covered up, I'm quite sure you didn't say, I want to be a drug addict. I want to be a prostitute. I want to be a pimp. I want to be a drug dealer. I want to be a murderer. I want to be a serial killer. You wouldn't have chose that. Most cases, some people will walk into a path of being a psychologist or a minister. Why? Because as a minister, they could spiritually start to heal themselves. They could attach themselves to something better. The person say, I might want to be a police officer. Why? They can arrest the bad guys. I want to be a military person, learn to kill off the bad guys. I want to be a doctor because the doctor can fix people, can heal people. But yet, of course, there's educational skills that must be developed that you got to go through. But here's the deal, you're still wounded. Yeah, people are still wounded. So it doesn't matter if you got off a bad track and got on a good track, you still carry the wounds from one track to the next. We've heard it, we've seen it through relationships, marital relationships, even couples who are just living with each other, not married. People say, oh, that guy's got a lot of baggage. Oh, that woman's got a lot of baggage. We hear it all the time. But what we're not paying attention to are the wounds that are festering, the wounds that are wide open, the scars that have not completely healed. So we often wonder, what is going on? How did I get this way? How come I don't feel good about myself? When will my luck turn? When will someone see me see my real self, my true self? When will I rise above these different situations that I keep being attracted to? I keep falling back into. You see? At least if we're questioning, why am I falling back into these things? Then the next step is, how do I identify them? How do I identify traits and habits? How do I identify what I keep thinking? Maybe I'm thinking the wrong way. Maybe I'm looking for people outside of myself to do what? To save me, instead of me saving myself. So you might see someone around you like that. Now, many of us, if we've had those experiences on some level, many of us have risen above. We have searched deep inside ourselves to discover who we are or rediscover who we are. So we start to look deep inside ourselves and we start to realize that we can be better. We start to realize that we can achieve and be better. So, what is it that we need to do? We need to search deeply for who we are. We need to start to look inside. When we start to look inside, we start to realize that we can make some changes. See, we have to have not the courage to be someone else. We have to develop the courage to be ourselves. Who are we? Who do we think we are? Hey, I could tell you a simple exercise. Get some close friends that you know and tell those close friends that you want them to tell you about yourself, what they've noticed about you. It could be like, have your friends tell me, what do you think some of my bad traits are? So you can get that squared away. And you might maybe pick maybe one or two or three traits that they may have noticed when they are around you. Then you ask them, scratch that from their mind. Now think of three good traits, three good qualities that you see in me. Now, when you're asking someone else to be that observant, you are in essence willing to do what? Put your ego behind you. Drop the ego personality of me. I'm the only one that counts. So I have to be special. I have to be on a pedestal. No, you want to get to a point one day when you don't have to be seen all the time, when you don't have to be on anybody's pedestal, not even your own. You want to get to the level where you are very humble. That's what you want. You want to be a very humble person. Why? Because the more humble, the more humility that you show, the more you can embrace your true potential self, the closer you can get to your transcendent self. And you don't have to wait until you pass the scene, till you don't have to wait till you transition. You can have that experience now. So we have to fix ourselves And in order to fix ourselves, we have to be able to heal ourselves. We have to heal our past. We have to heal the illusions that we have about ourselves. As you know, we all tell a story about ourselves. So we might ask, what is my story that I've been telling myself? What is the true story I need to tell about myself? Now, see, the telling of stories are important because, in a higher sense, you're not telling this story to impress other people beyond yourself. You're not telling the story to impress family members and friends. The only person who must believe the story, the true value of the story, is yourself. So just take a moment and think of the old stories that you used to tell yourself. You see, because we're living in a multi dimensional world, a multi universe, where we can see past, present, and future all at the same time. And we can see the potential that we had in the past and the ones that we have now. And we can see the quote unquote future, but all of it is happening now. And this is why we often cannot see clearly what we need to see clearly. We are often unaware of our true self, but we get an opportunity to see our true self. So that's the point I wanted to get across to you today. If you'd like to ask any questions about that, make any comments. If you're in the chat, do it right now. We still have another 8 minutes to go. While you're doing that, I want to pull out some announcements, which I should have stated earlier. But at Resonant Essentials, we have this new practitioner there, and her name is Liliana Rondon. I met Liliana Rondon way back in about 2012 at Mama's Minerals Spiritual Festival, uh, when Mama's Minerals was around on Lomas and Manoa. But the interesting factor was I didn't know who she was then, but I knew at some point I will get to know who she is. And recently this year, I had a chance to meet up with her again, and now I know that she is a practitioner for Resident Essentials. Well, today she had something going on. She's usually there every Thursday, and she's there until 5:30 p.m. But usually every Thursday, she does a lunch and learn from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And she's an apothecary type person. She's an herbalist. She's an artist. She works with crystals. And what she does is she teaches you how to make scrubs and bath salts naturally using natural things for yourself. I took a class with her one Saturday and it was a blast. I learned things that I think I couldn't learn or I think I didn't understand. And I haven't used mine yet. I have mine like sitting on my altar, even being more empowered. But she can teach you how to make a salt soak, and a scrub that not only clears your body, but clears your mind. And I would like to say she's very principled woman. She has a high vibration. This woman is up there, but she speaks to you from the practical world. So she is there, I think, from about 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning all the way up to about 5:30 p.m. You should stop through at 3107 Eubank Boulevard Northeast inside the Scottsdale Shopping Village at Resonant Essentials. She does some great work. And also there, but she'll be leaving shortly, is our orbital astrologer, hula hooping Johanna Radar. And Johanna has been a student of astrology, I think, since she was 10. And she does great astrological charts. She can do your progressions as well as your natal charts. And she teaches it. And she shares a lot of the concepts of astrology. She's there today and usually every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you might want to step in. Also on Tuesdays from about 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., we have the dynamic duo of Amber J, who does Reiki there, and Nikki Bruton Phillips, who works with Oracle cards and can explain some of the things you need to know about how to connect with your children. So we have some very exciting people. We also have usually sometimes on Wednesdays from 12 to 4, we have Michelle Vidal who does psychic mediumship and spiritual counseling, and she does spirit guided energy sessions. And she's there on Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays by appointment. All you have to do is go to our website. I think of one more person on Friday, we have she's usually there from 10 to 5. So, and Lolo, better known as Lauren, does some excellent tarot readings that can help you have a clear path. Well, anyway, every Saturday I'm there from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and I'm offering my Creative Pathwork meditation series. It's teaching people how to get in touch with themselves by using mindfulness meditation techniques, paying attention to how they breathe properly for themselves, and at the same time, eventually get you to move into the silent path of meditation where you can begin to build the energy up with your higher self. So, this is important. So this is highly important, and we all want to know who we are. So this is quite significant. And when we can relate to who we are, when we can see who we are, we can do better for ourselves. So that's my message for today. This message was to help you realize that you don't have to be someone different. You need to seek out your true self. You need to engage your true self, and that's your higher self. That's the one you want to become. That's the one that follows you from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. And so, in this quest to be well known, get in touch with your higher self. That's the one, just like all these ancient beings and ancient prophets and ancient leaders and rulers, good, bad, or indifference. We all come from the same divine source. We just choose to be in this global establishment called the earth in a different way. We choose to experience earthly things. So I can guarantee you sometimes that certain ancient ones, they're not interested in coming back. They've done all the work that they were supposed to do. They've planted all the seeds that they were supposed to do. And they're living in other ethers, other ethereal places, still living. That's what happens when a person transitions. They don't just die. They might be dead to this physical world because you may not understand that they're still alive. They're just in an ethereal area beyond this earthly plane. So you'd want to understand that you are this divine immortal being and that you can become greater than what you are now. You don't have to live in the past. Well, I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Thank you for tuning in to my weekly podcast, Clear Blue Radiance. As I said, I'm usually here every Thursday from 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. If you like today's program, click on the like symbol. If you really like the program, click on the share button if you can see it. But we will upload this later so that you could have a glorious time. In the meantime, I'm going to now take a break. I'm going to watch a little TV, maybe listen to some meditation music, maybe do some reading. Until next time, always remember that my grace is your grace. Divine blessings to you. And until next week, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Because that's what we're here to do. To remember our true self is our higher self. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have an awesome, magical Friday and a splendid weekend coming up. Take care.